part I hate every single week. And once again, I can never find the chat. So the chat takes a few minutes to pop up. There's 10 of you here. Ah, I see the chat now. Thank you. See, someone always has to start that chat. Oh, I didn't even test if I could hear myself right or if you guys can hear me. Yeah, you can. Good. So it's Monday night. How is everybody? I'd like to see who's here. My Creeper Squad is here. So shout out to Kelly and Sherry, the presidents and vice presidents of the Creeper Squad. Let's see what is Kelly saying. I love Mondays. Every Monday seems like they got further away every week, or maybe that's because I'm addicted to knowing what you teach us every week. Very cool. I hope I'm teaching you guys stuff. I just like to wait a few minutes for more people to join us. And while we're doing that, I want you to really get present with where you are right now. So I want you to look around the room or wherever you are. I know Ralim, our dear friend Ralim, likes to tune in and have her Facebook Live playing while she's driving home from teaching a college course in the city. And many times she says that she has pulled over on the Palisades Parkway so she can watch this. And I hope she's listening. She's finally told me that she promises that she won't pull over to watch, but she'll just listen in. So let's give a nice big shout out to Ralim and a safe drive home. And you could always watch this whole podcast or this whole thing on my YouTube channel, which is right above my head here, like Dana White. So get present with wherever you are, in your room, in your car. Just look down at your clothes, whether they're pajamas. I look like I'm dressed, but I'm not. I have a little scarf on because you all know that I always have a scarf on, or I tend to almost have a scarf on. I usually do it like this. But the rest of me is in yoga pants and bare feet. And that's pretty much how I am all the time when I'm home. It's all I prefer to be in. So I can't really understand why my waistline is getting larger, especially since I had a Snickers bar for dinner. But whatever. So, but get present. And whatever you're wearing or not wearing, don't tell us what you're not wearing. But just for this moment, appreciate this moment. Just get present. Forget about everything you've got to think about, everything you have to do. Forget about the whole mind chatter of how much you suck or how great you are. Forget about whatever all that is and just get present and be appreciative of this moment. And if that's all you get out of this whole night, then you're ahead of the game. Presence and being with what is in the moment is so key. And I always teach, if you will, or talk about what I need to do myself. So if I ever come off like, hey guys, do this, and I'm winning at life and everything's going perfectly, while I do have truly an amazing, good life, I have a fucking meltdown like every 15 minutes for one reason or another. And I know better. And again, my buddy Maya Angelou always used to say, if you know better, when you know better, you do better. And it's like the one thing I disagree with her on. Because like, I know I shouldn't have had that Snickers bar for dinner. And I did. I know I should just remain calm and like I can't find something. And literally 10 minutes before this aired, I came down to the studio in here and I found out that my mouse batteries were dead. So I have that like, what the fuck was that? And they come down earlier. I do all that mind chatter and that crap and that crazy stuff. And thankfully, I'm going to give a shout out to GK because he keeps coming to my rescue. And I hate that. I mean, I freaking love it, but I hate that. So here he comes. He has just fixed the brakes on my car. I was on a radio show with Suzanne Northrop from 6 to 7. While I was doing that, he was fixing my brakes. And I'm transitioning to come down here. And I'm like, what is that? Again, my battery's not working. I can't figure out how to do this. He comes down, like, fixes it in, like, a freaking nanosecond. So shout out to GK for totally keeping me, I was going to say sane, but no. Calm is good. So I'm going to give him that credit because he does deserve it. But in 15 seconds, he can ruin it by saying something snide and annoying, and then it's done. So anyway, while you're tuning in, just write in if this is your first time and where you're tuning in from, or if this is like a regular thing for you. If you want to be a part of the Creeper Squad, hashtag Creeper Squad, you can contact Kelly, and I'm sure there'll be like a little movement going. And I'm kidding. Don't do that. Well, you can do that, but I'm kidding about there being like a actual like group. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. So it's holidays, and everyone, including myself, that I'm talking to, whether they're a close personal friend, whether they're just a person coming in for a session, everyone is talking about how off they feel and how like frenzied and chaotic. And I'm like, yeah, because for some reason this time of year just amps everything up. And I want us to, myself included, remind ourselves to bring it down. And there's really nothing that important other than the fact that we're breathing and we're here on the planet. So we have to like bring ourselves down and get perspective on things. So if you're freaking out and overwhelmed and you're not good enough, you don't have enough gifts for your kids or your family or this one or that one, that's just your brain being an asshole. And so you've got to think better thoughts. It's always my tag phrase. That's what we need to do. Come down. And last night at meditation at my center, we did this whole meditation where we activated the pineal gland in the center of our head. And that pineal gland is responsible for it's like the seed or seat of our intuition within our mind. And there's a lot of conspiracy theory stuff about the pineal gland. There's a lot of cool material about the like scientific material. They say that fluoride in our water dulls it, which is what's dulling our intuition. I don't disagree with that. I don't know if there was like an agenda to actually do that. I don't quite go that far into conspiracy theory, but whatever. But we activated the conspiracy theory. Oh my God. Is it 9:30 yet? Is it time to stop? We activated the pineal gland last night, and the whole meditation was designed to show us how connected our thoughts are right in here and how quickly we can manifest from that space in our mind. And at the end of it, one of the participants, I haven't seen her name on here, but that I could have just missed it, was talking about, and part of the meditation was, what do you need? And we addressed what it is we need within a meditation. So it's our subconscious mind talking to us. It is not the conscious mind. And what do we need to do? What's a very doable action step, a doable task that you can do? And I said it over the next 2 weeks because the next meditation's in 2 weeks. So what's a doable task that you can do to address what it is you need? And one of the people, I'll keep her name out just because I don't know if she wants privacy. She probably doesn't. But until I see her saying, yes, it's fine. And she wanted, at first she answered the question herself. Her conscious mind got engaged. And she answered it with, I really want to have positive self-talk to myself. But in the meditation, I was asking and really probing to see, is that really doable? Does that feel doable? And whatever the task is that you land on, it has to feel doable, which means it has to be really, really small. So it's not the time to like, okay, I'm going to, rearrange my entire house and reorganize everything and purge everything in the next 2 weeks. That's not really doable. So we broke it down to something very small. And she said in the meditation that positive self-talk felt not doable to her. And she was upset. She was pissed. She said, I was pissed that why can't I do something that's simple? That should be very simple. I should have positive self-talk. That should be a very doable task. But she knew in the meditation, felt that resistance and felt like, no, that's not going to happen. It's not doable. And so she dove deeper, thankfully, and she came up with what can she do? And she has to breathe. And that was her doable task. So all that happened in her meditation. And if you have come to meditation, you know how it works. But if you haven't, you should get there because meditation is when I can really work with you. I can really, really sit with you and work with you and help you process out your meditation experiences, your blocks, your thoughts. It's phenomenal. So she sort of raised her hand and shared this experience. And she said, I'm pissed. I wanted to do better and have more positive self-talk. And I can't. And I want to know why. And that's when we got to the whole thing of like, well, what can you do? And she said, I was told I have to just breathe. We went through it. What does breathing do? How does that feel? And she said, it feels really good. It makes me very calm and centered. And it makes me feel like, what was the word she used? I think it was de-stressing, calm, and something else. And I said, well, what do you think positive self-talk would do for you? I'm pretty sure that would de-stress me and calm me. So her end product, she got it. She just didn't get it in the way that she had wanted to do it. She wants to positively self-talk herself every day and through every day. But she couldn't. But she could breathe. And we all did it together. We're like, okay, how does it feel to breathe? Take in this mindful breath and let everything be. And she's like, it feels really, really good. And we went around the room. It feels really, really good. And that was it's so silly because we should know this. And I think we do know this, but we need to be reminded of it. So if you get nothing else out of this night, I want you to remember for the next week, because I'll be back on next week, next Monday night, really pay attention to when you're self-sabotaging, when you're overwhelmed, when you are upset, and breathe. Get right to that moment. And that's it. Because the breathing shut off the part of her mind that was criticizing her for not positively self-talking to herself. And I am positive all of you can relate to this. Nobody out there is like this master all the time of their brain 24/7. And I'm seeing, Kelly, you wrote, my block is my brain. My brain is a real asshole. We all have that. And we have to retrain the mind, retrain the brain. The problem is we have to catch it. We have to catch those negative thoughts when they're happening. So over the next week, pay attention to your breathing, pay attention to those thoughts. You're not even trying to fix the thoughts. Just get back centered and breathe. And it'll calm you. It'll de-stress you. Is it going to work 24/7? It should. Probably could. Will it? Maybe not. Because you're new. You're new at it. So it takes practice. So on that note, I'm seeing what everyone is writing. People tuning in from Saratoga. I see you, John. This is my romper room part of the show where I'm like, and then I see Susie and Mary. John's tuning in from Pine Bush, New York. And Allison, you're tuning in. Allison, you're in Rhinebeck? I always forget. Let's see. And don't forget, for those of you, and if you are just logging on, write in where you are tuning in from, and if this is your first night or if you've kind of been regular. Yeah, a lot of people, Patty, are in a bad space. This is a weird time of year. It just is. On that note, too, it is a weird time of year. At the end of, December 23rd, I'm going to do a whole, service. I do it every year. I didn't the last 2 years because I had back issues and leg issues, but a whole service on light and our refocus on the light. So it's a sort of Christmas Eve holiday light service from 8 to 9:30 on December 23rd at the center. So look that up on Facebook. Saugerties. Okay, you're from Saugerties. And Mayapack is in Orlando, Florida. Oh boy, do we wish we were there. Fishkill. Cool. Milton. Los Angeles is in the house. My all-time favorite. Let's see, what else? I released a couple more intuitive personalized book copies for the holidays because a lot of people were asking, are you going to do it again? I want to get it for my mom. I want to get it for this one. I get that one. So I released a few more. I'm only doing a few at a time because they get overwhelming and I want to put my time and attention to it. So we released 25, and right before I tuned in tonight, I think there was 14 left or 14 were purchased. I don't remember which one, but you can log on to my website for those. That is when I sign your book, but I'm signing it to a specific person, either you or whoever you want to buy it for, and I'm tuning into that person's energy field and really delivering an intuitive message. And that I just love. A quote will come to me. A song has been coming to me, different visuals. And it's just, I don't know. I just enjoyed that process when I released the book back in September. Oh, Kyle, I know you're going to have to like sleep over because yeah, you'll wind up leaving at like 6 a.m. to come to that service, but it might be worth it. Okay, let's see. Oh, Beth, I just saw your comment. Today's your mom's birthday, and I love that you wrote this. Can you wish her a happy birthday and let her know how much I love and miss her? She hears you. No one needs a medium on the planet. Nobody needs a medium to connect with your loved ones. If you get nothing else out of the night, make sure you hear that. It feels better to get external validation from that your loved ones are around you. So that's absolutely valid. And it feels good to have that external validation through a medium for sure. But your mom is listening to you all the time. She's not like calling me and waiting like, Deborah, do I have any messages from Beth today? Or any medium. She's not searching us out. So just remember that. So whatever you say to her in your mind, you don't even have to say it out loud. She'll hear you. And I just saw that Kevin is tuned in, and I'm really excited about that. And I like your little icon. Little wink wink for GK and I with your little icon. Kevin, super cool guy. I hope Carol Ann is on as well. But if not, I hope she can hear me. And if not, we're just going to send a ton of cool energy her way. Let's see. I'm looking through here. People are hanging out in my tree outside to stalk me. That is a joke. They are not. And then in this form, I don't take personal intuitive questions. So I do more generalized questions, kind of about the process of mediumship and what happens. And I did see a lot about blocks coming up. Lisa, you wrote about relationship stuff. It doesn't seem to be working out for you. I happen to know you, so I'm not answering this specifically to you, but in general, there's a couple of things when relationships don't work out. Sometimes it's that they don't work out, and there's like nothing wrong with anybody. So, and I know you, Lisa, like to dig deep and what's wrong with me and how come he doesn't love me or how come this, we all do that. So sometimes don't look too deeply into it. And it's just, my energy doesn't vibe with that person's energy, whether they didn't feel good with you, you didn't feel good with them. Sometimes that just happens. So you don't necessarily have to dig deep into every single one. When there is this like flip-flop back in your head, I don't know, is this it? I don't know. You have to go into, that's usually a child consciousness, an old consciousness, a consciousness that is not upgraded and present, because we really do know if something feels good and we know if it doesn't. So is every relationship going to feel perfect 24/7? No, it's not going to, except for me with Greg, because he just can't help but adore me, right? So, yeah, right. Especially when I'm like, Greg, help me find the freaking batteries. But anyway, so you're not going to feel it 24/7. You have to look into what is it that is missing from your standpoint. What is it that you need? And are your needs getting met in the ways you like and in other ways? So, not answering your question like specifically for you, but it's a two-way street. You can only handle your side. You want to really get clear on what it is you want and how are those needs getting met. It's just not getting met in the way that you really prefer because of your child consciousness. All right, I see. I'm going to add this one. Whoops. Let me move this down. Hello, Holly from Hollywood. Let's do that. Tell me if I'm crazy. First of all, probably not. I said probably. I know you, so definitely not. But in case someone else asks me that and I don't know them, I'll just say probably not. But I went to a medium gallery here in LA, and the energy in the room was so filled with grief that the next day I was so depressed. I could barely get myself out of bed at first. That's the mark of an empath, isn't it? How can an empath shield from the overwhelming energy people give off? Good question. I've done a lot of thinking about empaths in the last 2 weeks. And I'm usually kind of a little bit of an asshole when I talk about empaths, because I get so many people that basically, and you're not doing this, Holly, so I'm not saying you, I'm talking generalized right now. So many people say, well, I'm an empath and I'm very spiritual and I'm an empath and I pick up on everyone's emotions and my, whole life is sucking because of it. That's when I go, that's not really an empath. That's just like a really fantastic excuse for like not getting your shit together. Pardon, but those of you who know me, I'm going to say it straight. That is not what Holly's talking about. When we absorb so much energy, we're empathizing with people. We're really feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe we didn't have a brother pass, but if you were in that gallery and someone was talking about their brother who passed, you really picked up on the emotion of it and you're empathizing. So allow that to happen because there's something in the room, whether it's at work, at a gallery like that, whether it's in the mall, wherever we are, there's something in the air where you are that you're picking up on that is triggering something within you. So it isn't just their feelings that you're feeling. It is their feelings and experiences that were expressed that you felt and can understand and touch somewhere within you. That's where the power is. So all these empaths that are like, no, I can't get out of bed because everybody's energy overwhelms me. No, I'm not going to buy that. No, everyone, the energy overwhelms you, but then you don't know what to do with it. So how do you shield yourself? One, with awareness. A lot of people talk about putting yourself in white light and wrapping yourself with white light. I don't say it doesn't work, but I'm not of that mind to necessarily give that as advice, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that. In your case too, I would go up to people and say, oh my gosh, that really struck me when that happened. And oh my God, I really felt that. And you can walk away. You're in LA too, so you really can do this. If we're in New York City, it's a little bit different, but you can. Like, I really felt that. That was so powerful. That unlocked or opened something up in me. Express it, but recognize that it's pulling on some level of grief within you. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's grief from a death of a loved one. It could be just grief. It could be fear. It could be sadness. It could be a million different things. So recognize that other people's stuff, when we pick up on it, is within ourselves, a reflection of something within ourselves. And I hope that makes sense. And there is more power in that. That means you can sort of identify it and delve into it deeper and look into what is the grief within me that's getting pulled up. And grief is not a bad emotion. Anger is not a bad emotion. Sadness is not a bad emotion. Depression is not a bad emotion. There's no emotion on the planet that's bad, except when it tips the scales and it overwhelms and it's the overriding constant personality or energy. Except for the joy and happiness, those are okay. Let's see. I never wear my glasses for these, so like the words go bleep, and they do that sound too. Bleep. Okay. Grab a copy of Deb's book. No, you're not supposed, Jackie, no, you're not supposed to overanalyze why relationships don't work out. Let me just put that up there. Sometimes they just don't work out. And the reason why I say not to overanalyze when relationships don't work out is because we will overanalyze either how much we suck and no one wants us and loves us, or how much that person sucks and no one's ever going to want them again. And when they do have another relationship again, there's like hard feelings. So you don't need to be on this polarized side. It's just, all right, it didn't work out. I'm sad. I wish it did. Or, I'm sad that that person wanted it to and I don't, whatever way. So instead of making it this big analyzation of, how much I suck, how much not. If you have a partner, a person who's saying, listen, I totally love you, I totally dig you, but I really can't stand X, Y, Z, look at that. Look at it. However, that person also has to reciprocate. And when you say, listen, you've noticed when you do X, Y, Z, that's like good communication. So don't overanalyze, especially if the other person's not. It just means not compatible. And I know you people, a lot of you, and you're saying, no, it must be me. It must be me. I can't find anyone. It's just you can't find anyone you've totally vibed with yet. for whatever reason. And there's a ton of reasons why, but we don't need to keep reopening them. Unless you're like a sociopath and you're like just this horrible human and you keep like, bulldozing through everyone, then take a look at that. But I know you're not that, because people on this would not be asking the question. Nobody asks if they're what's wrong with them when they're a sociopath. So that's happy news. It's Sociopath Mondays. I don't know. I was going to say it's been a long week, but it hasn't. It hasn't been yet. Teresa Ann, you said that your husband passed suddenly 3 weeks ago. I am so sorry to hear that. 3 months ago, sorry. How do you know? I'm not doing readings in this format, and I haven't done them yet this way, but I can tell you they're all fine, no matter how they've passed, how suddenly, how not suddenly, if they're murdered, suicide, no matter how anyone has passed, tragic accident, however it is, they're fine. As soon as they cross over, which they cross over pretty much instantly, sometimes even before the body passes, they're fine. They're not stuck. A lot of these movies are like, they can't find the light, and, they don't even know their past. And I've 17 years of doing this, and really my whole life doing this, but 17 years with full awareness. I have never, ever encountered an energy that's like, oh my God, I'm not okay. I'm freaking out. Where am I? They're all fine. They've all got the good spot. And that is answered and addressed in my book. So it's called In the Presence of Proof. You can get it on Amazon. You can buy a personalized intuitive copy through my website. But that's explained in there very thoroughly. But I'd never want anyone worrying that they're okay, or they're questioning, did he really know that I loved him? Yes, he knows more than ever now. So I always say the deceased have the good spot, which sounds like I'm this like super depressing human, but what I mean is they're fine. They let go of all the human shit that we have here. So I hope you don't have kids listening, and if you do, they just learned about the word shit. I don't know. But we have all this human shit here. We do. The best of us have it. And when we pass, we don't have it anymore. I know you guys are liking my sound effects. Here's another one. I like this, Nancy. A medium once mentioned to me that our loved ones have jobs on the other side. Is this true? I have heard mediums talk about these jobs. A lot of times when we mediums are talking, we're talking using human terms and terminology, which then everyone here thinks, oh, good. So it's like here, only it's there. And I struggle with the job thing because, first of all, it's not jobs like, yeah, there's like the postman, the deceased postman who's like delivering the mail over there. I know that's not what you're thinking, but some people do think it's literal. There's no like jobs. Imagine, then they wouldn't have the good spot. Then it's like this all over again. Some talk about populations they like to welcome. So I actually had a reading today, and it's kind of rare that they talk about the jobs that they have or the populations. But this young woman today actually said that she likes to take care of or be surrounded by the babies that didn't get to even be born. So that's either aborted babies or babies that were miscarried. She said she'd like to hang out with all the babies. And her aunt said, yeah, she loved little children. She wanted to work in the NICU or something with nursing or young infants. And I was like, oh my gosh. But they don't always tell us that. I don't always hear that, I should say. Sometimes if someone took their life, they do like to welcome over or greet or help. Not really the word help. Connect with those who have also taken their lives. But in the most part, in my readings, I really don't hear them talking about their job. But I do hear a lot of mediums say like, oh, this one, they're in charge of all the pets and their animals. So I have heard them say that, but as far as my experience, it's not common by any means. Pretty ironic you're asking the question, and just today I had someone mention it, but it's not like a theme, and certainly not all of them express that. So those of you who are just tuning in, just write down where you're tuning in from, and if this is your first time here. Ooh, I like this one, Gina. Let's see. Gina, I meant to reach out to you, so message me. But how can we encourage someone to realize or believe they have the power to reconnect their mind, body, and spirit? Frustrating, because you can encourage, and I like the word that you encourage, depending on the type of person that they are, and I would surmise that they are more of a logical, black and white mindset, wired that way. I would have them listen to someone like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins. They have a much more scientific method on how to do it, which someone who is wired to be skeptical and analytical would tend to respond better to someone who expresses, rewiring the mind and the power to do that in a way that's teachable to them or learnable to them. And then the other way is by example. You do it yourself. That is the best way. You show them, hey, look, I struggled with XYZ. I'm redoing this. I'm connecting my mind, body, and spirit. I'm staying in touch. And you do it by example. There's really no more powerful method, And then there's also that release of like, I really wish you would. I wish you would be into this, and I wish you would get it. And you're totally capable of it, as all people are capable of it. But it's all comes down to your degree of interest. So it's a couple things. But I would say first, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins. Have them watch the movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? That's another great one. There's a book that goes along with that, but it's a movie as well. What the Bleep Do We Know? Start there. I would say start there for them. And if they're just saying, no, I don't want it, then you just have to honor it, which is annoying, but it is what it is, right? Until it isn't. Kyle, why are you hugging trees? I missed it, but you're hugging trees. That's good. That's good energy. It's grounding energy. Good, Holly. Yes, you had that inclination and that impulse. So next time, follow that impulse of like just saying like, wow, yes, I felt that. Okay, here's a good one. Oh, Kelly. It's from Kelly. I didn't even see that. She's the president of the Creeper Squad. # Creeper Squad. Okay, so if someone has one specific question for someone who has passed, do you usually get the answer to the person in one way or another? I only ask not because I doubt what you do, obviously, but I'm dying for one answer and I never get it. Like, shouldn't they see that I'm going crazy over here? Yes. Perfect question. Great question. I have been to a ton of mediums in my entire life, probably since I'm about 13. And I have two very specific, one additional. So 3 total signs or ways that I want someone to express themselves to me, and not a single medium has ever even alluded to or come close to it, ever. And I've been to amazing mediums, and I've gotten amazing readings and good messages that are very valuable, but none of them have ever said one of these 3 things, which I have never even spoken. No one on the planet, other than myself, knows what these 3 things are. So I always tell people to come to me not harping on that one thing or those 3 things, because they may not answer it. And a lot of times when we don't answer it, you don't listen to anything that was said, which I believe is normal. I totally am behind that. I get it. That's how I am. But I've seen it so many times where I'll give a reading and I'm like, I'm blown away by it. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't say this, so I'm not sure if it's my grandmother. And I'm like, hello? So it can be frustrating. So try to let go of that one thing. And it's hard. It's hard too. So do they know you want to know it? Yes. So when they communicate, they are downloading everything to us. They're telling us everything from your birth to when your passing will be. I never hear when we're going to pass here, but they know. So they're telling us everything, and they're downloading it in literally seconds. So your entire worlds everything they've done, everything you've done, everything your kids have done or doing, will do, it gets downloaded. And as mediums, think computers. It's like taking current technology and trying to put it into like one of those little like old Apple computers from like 1980. Like it's just not going to all get in there. So we pick up on little blips and pieces of the whole story, but it's impossible for us to catch the entire thing. So it's not that they're not addressing it. It's not that they're not telling us it. It's just that we do not operate at the speed that they operate on, the level or the vibration that they operate on. So no, they know you're going crazy. And I do tend to think that they do. Oh my God, you said I'm 48, Kathy. I do tend to think they do answer it for us, but not like directly from like the mouth of a medium or like the burning bush. So it does get answered, but we're usually, myself included, are usually like, wait, what? I'm not getting it. I'm not seeing it, because that's how we're wired. We're human, and we don't always get it. All right. Let's see. Shelley, I know I've been feeling crappy today, but I got a letter in the mail saying they cannot approve my gap card because I'm deceased. Oh my gosh. Is someone trying to tell me something? No, that was a computer screw up, and that's pretty funny, actually. I'm sorry. That's hilarious. So you're feeling crappy, and now on top of feeling crappy and having surgery, like I know you did, you also cannot buy anything from the Gap unless you pay cash. That's bullshit. You might as well be deceased, Shelley. You just might as well. But no one's telling you anything. That's a human situation. It's probably someone trying to get you to laugh. If anything, it's to getting you to laugh. So, and I think it's funny. I think it's great. That's a great Gap commercial. You know what I mean? Like or a great like Old Navy commercial. Like, screw you, Gap. I'm going to the Old Navy because Gap thinks I'm dead. That'd be great. I'd like to be in that one. Even the medium can't bring back your credit. Oh my God. I'm such an asshole. But that's funny. That's really funny. But the good news is too, Shelley, we can all validate that you are not dead. You're still here. You just can't shop at the Gap right now. So that's good. I would check your like credit too. Like maybe there was a breach or something. I don't know. I don't think I'm not answering that intuitively either. So don't be like, why do you think so? No, I'm just saying. Okay. Oh, let's see. You love Vicky. You love hearing my explanation of what happens when we pass. How did you find out about it? It's all I do. It's all I sleep, eat, breathe. I have no other hobbies, no other passions. It's all I think about. And I've been immersed in this world, and I hear what other mediums have said or a lot of like paranormal shows and completely disagree. It's not my experience at all, such as like, these haunting energies, like, oh, they're like in an old farmhouse and no one knows that the farmhouse had a fire, 200 years ago, and they're all still screaming on the property. No, that's crap. That doesn't happen. So my experience, it's really just my experience and careful attention to experience. And then I study science. I study energy. I study quantum physics, and those things match up quite well. So, looking up all about non-local versus local energy and how energy is in particle and wave form and vibrates at different levels and dimensions, and we are aware of things, and neurobiology. All of that all matches up to what mediums largely talk about. So it wasn't just like one day I read a book. It's that that's all I do is study this. I have this like eye twitching issue, so it's annoying me. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see. Hold on. No, you can't see it, but it's happening. Okay. New Milford, New Jersey, Middletown. Oh, I like everyone saying hi to Greg. Oh, let's do this one, Terry. What does it mean if you have a gold aura? So I'm trying to think back. I think I might incorporate this type of stuff in my energy awareness workshop. It's coming up in February. It does start February 23rd, Kyle. I know you asked that last night. It's February 23rd and then every other week for 6 weeks. And I might incorporate aura readings in this. But I am from a school of, I know what a gold aura means to me if I see it in someone else, and there is an overriding, gold energy, more pristine. That's why we see like in ancient Rome art, they have these golden halos, which they do believe was really just the aura they were seeing around people, and that they were expressing the light that was coming from them. But I also have found that color doesn't mean the same to a person. So when I teach the class about aura and colors and energy and seeing it and feeling it, gold might give an unsettling feeling to someone. So if they saw gold, it might mean something totally different. So that's the way I teach it. But typically in all of a lot of, color, vibration, information, gold is a high level energy, high level light. It's more pure, pristine. It usually comes from the crown chakra, which is the top chakra here. It is your connection to universal energy. So when you have a gold aura, you tend to be or seem to be extremely connected to the other side. You can have a gold aura because you're singing and you are singing a favorite song, and then the next second you read something or you hear something bad on the news, and then your aura drops to something else. So sometimes I think people think auras are these like stagnant energy fields, and it's not. It's fluid and it moves and it changes. So I think I am going to incorporate all that into my energy awareness workshop in February, March, and April. Oh, cool. Another Gina. That's a great picture too, Gina. My dad passed away recently, and our new neighbors who just moved in and didn't know him said that their 3-year-old was walking around talking to someone, asked who said my dad's name again. They didn't know him. What are your thoughts on those that pass coming to children? Cool question. Children, especially at the age of 3, that is like the sweet spot of ages, because they are still unjaded and they haven't been taught so much logic. We send them to school usually 3, 4, 5, it starts getting more logical thinking. So those younger ages, they're still in their imaginative minds and play, and they don't filter here reality, solid versus energy, and it's all the same to them. So 3 is a sweet spot. That's why I always feel like I did retain these mediumship qualities, because I was 3 when my brother died. So I was still wide open to realize like he's here, but he's not here. So I think you should absolutely be so high and excited that your dad is making himself known to someone who can actually see him. Now, it's common for kids to talk about them and then all of a sudden they stop, and it doesn't mean your dad's not coming around anymore. It just means that person is not aligned to see them. And as that child grows, like I said, you'll probably see a decline in them connecting and talking about it. What you never want to do, and I know this is your neighbor's child, but what you never want to do or tell their parents, never to go up and say, oh, is Robbie here today? Is he still here? Is that man around? What is he doing? What does he want? Only receive the information when the child initiates it. So never, ever, ever ask a child, remember the other day when you saw that man? What was he wearing? What did he say? What was his name? You don't want to hound them, because then they start to think they made it up, because mediumship feels very much using your imagination. It feels real but unreal. And for a child, it's extremely difficult to discern, was it real or was I just imagining it? And when you ask them about it later, they're going to start filling in the details because they want to impress you or they want to answer you. So then they do start making things up. And then they feel guilty for making it up. And then they don't want to talk about it at all because there's a association of guilt with it. So just when this little child brings, your dad up or anyone that they're seeing or feeling. You can ask them anything. Oh my gosh, what did he say? Can you tell him I love him? Even though he already knows that, you're saying it to the child. Just have any messages? You know, you can ask whatever in the moment that they bring it up. But once they stop, you have to stop. And that's for all children. And I'm a huge stickler on that, because otherwise you'll wind up with a very psychologically disturbed child, because then there's so much conflict between intuition and logic and shame and so many other things involved. So very important. But fantastic question. Catherine, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Ooh. I just pulled my neck, but I don't think it was mine. I mean, it was my neck, but I think it was somebody on the other side, believe it or not. But I'm not going there. So is there a reason someone is always afraid? I'm not sure if you mean afraid like of everything. Afraid to move forward, afraid of advancement, afraid to take risks. I'm not sure what you mean by afraid or all of it, but I'll address the question as a generalized all of it, and then you can specify more in the comments below. But why are they always afraid? It's usually a consciousness of I'm not enough, I'm not capable. So if you feel like you can never leap or take a risk because you're too afraid, there's something in you that feels like I'm not capable. And the I'm not capable lingo probably came somewhere between 0 and 8 or 9 years old. And it was like a little tape that got recorded. Like if you couldn't tie your shoes until you're 14, there was a I can't do it constant thought going through your head. And you kept that as a core belief. So there's one reason why people can be afraid. If it's afraid of the other side, it could be just your upbringing. It could be that you're listening to like extreme religious beliefs. It could be because a lot of times like paranormal shows always talk about, you know, oh, this spirit, they're haunting us. And it makes me wild. Like when I listen to the radio and they have these like haunted shows, I want to scream at the people and the mediums, because they're like, oh, there's a spirit, they're at unrest, and you know, I had to calm them down after we like entered their bedroom. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That is not what happens. They're not at rest. They knew you were coming in the first place. So it could be that they're taught to be afraid and that there's negative energies and negative entities and all that crap. No such thing. Negative energies and negative entities are a function of our psychological development. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you developed this thought or fear around something that is unseen, but it is not true, and it does not have power. So that's how I'm taking your question about fear, but you can clarify more. And I'll get back to it only because I'm trying to go through the questions in an order. Oh my God, Kelly, I can't even believe you just wrote that. Hilarious. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's hilarious. Okay, Debbie Phillips. When a person passes and then reincarnates, can they come back within the same circle of family and friends, and you will share a life with them again? Do I make sense? Yes, you totally make sense. I'm hoping I don't come back in the same family. I'm just like, can I get a new family in the next life? Can we be done? Can we just be like, this was fun, this was great, see you later, it's been fun? I hope so. But yeah, we do circle back around with largely the main players or characters of our lives, but we could also have somebody who was a spouse in another lifetime and they were your kindergarten teacher in this lifetime. So you can have them kind of show up briefly again. But yeah, we totally do typically come back in the same groups, so to speak, but new can come in and some don't come back. There is a whole school of thought about how once you kind of settle the issue, if you will, then that person no longer needs to keep showing up. And I think I mentioned it on this show last week. It's a children's book that I love that totally talks about this. It's called The Little Soul and the Sun, and it's by Neil Donald Walsh. And in it, it's about two souls on the other side, and they're agreeing to teach each other lessons when they incarnate and when they become humans. And they were agreeing, like, listen, I'm going to have to do this, like, really not nice thing to you in this next lifetime. Will you promise to remember that we had this conversation, because I'm trying to teach you what we both agreed to. And it's just an adorable book, but I think it's perfect for adults. So get that book, Little Soul and the Sun. And you most likely will share a life again in some capacity. But like I said, if you are good and the issues are done, then you don't necessarily have to repeat them. Or if you ended on a good term and there's just total love, they can show back up with complete love again in another lifetime. I'm just hoping I get a whole new set of family. Other than GK and my children, everyone else can totally not come back to me. And I'm not kidding. Okay. Let's see. What do bright white orbs mean? And like the size of a lunch plate. Now, I'm assuming you caught them on film. So on either camera. Sometimes it truly is just dust, or it's just a particle, or it's like the way the light in the room caught dust. Sometimes it really is that. Other times it totally is energy. When I did a gallery somewhere, nope, I don't think it was a gallery. I think it was at Omega, and I was at the James Von Prague workshop. We took a picture of the room before the workshop started. It was there. And then we took a picture of the room after the workshop started, and the difference in the orbs in the room was ridiculous. So I always forget to do it right before a gallery. I don't even think about it. But sometimes it is just energy. And I do believe that as cameras get better and better and better with capturing the tiny pixels in our life, we'll be able to see spirit and energies more and more and more. A friend of mine named Biner recently sent me this really unbelievable still frame of, he set up a hunting camera, and he lives somewhere in the South. And he set up a hunting camera, and it took still pictures every few minutes. I don't know. And he's like, what is this? And it is the coolest by far actual capture of what looks like a pioneer woman in the middle of the woods. And he was like totally freaked out, but excited, like not scared. And he had wished that he had kept the camera running. It was not a video of it. It was still frames. I'll have to see if I can post it, because it was pretty amazing. You could see it right away that it's a female, and there's no other explanation for this thing. This camera was set up in the middle of the woods for no reason. Then I did a reading for him on the site. Now, obviously, I've never been there. I think he lives in like Tennessee or something. It's somewhere in the South. And I was like, listen, in that picture, is there a stream like really close by? Like you could really see it in the picture, or it's like really close. And he says, yeah, you can't see it in the picture, and he sent me an arrow with the picture. Like, this is where this little stream is. And we did a reading. I'm like, she's a woman, that she belonged to the land, and she's totally fine, totally happy. It was really cool. So, orbs are energy, and never bad energy. No such thing as bad energy. Bad energy exists here, and not on the other side at all. Michaela, can you get 2 different readings from 2 different mediums? Can your future change weekly, monthly, or even yearly? Oh yeah, your future can totally change in any instant. The big lessons or things we have to go through and learn, those lessons don't change. The theme of those lessons, I should say, don't change. But the way we receive them can change. So, what do I mean by that? Let me think of an example. I'm blanking out. Look at that. I have no examples. But if one of our lessons here is all about abundance and lack versus abundance, we can choose to receive that lesson through receiving nothing and having nothing in that lifetime, and kind of messing up finances and experience lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of financial abundance. So lack can be the theme, but we can kind of decide what type of lack it is. Similarly, abundance could be the theme, but it could be, what type of abundance do you get? Do you get an abundance of attention? Do you get abundance of health issues? Do you get an abundance, what are you describing as abundance? So we can change how we receive the lesson, but kind of the theme of the lesson stays. That's what we're here for. And I was talking last time, or maybe 2 weeks ago, about a class that I do called Why Are We Here? Because people always ask me, like, what are my lessons? How do I know what they are in this lifetime? And I have a shortcut on a very simple way. You and I go into depth in this class, but if you want to know why you're here and what some of your theme lessons are, you identify your main caregivers, your parents and anyone else who's like a main caregiver to you from 0 to about 10, 15 years old. And you list their positive and negative qualities. And then you start to see a theme running through that. And the class is more in depth because we run through it of like, oh, this is the theme here. And you're here to learn that. So if you had parents who were fiscally irresponsible, you're here in this lifetime to learn to grab hold of your finances. So we can change it. We can absolutely have change or control power of that. It's also called free will versus destiny. And can you get 2 different readings from 2 different mediums? Absolutely. No matter how much we should not get in the way of a reading, we still have our spin because we're human. So if 2 of mediums are in this very room, we still will not experience this very room the exact same way. So I just came off a radio show where Suzanne Northrup and I were kind of reading callers, and be quiet, Sharon, I hear you. And we were picking up on very different information, very, very, very different information. So you can get a different reading. It doesn't mean that one's right and one's wrong. And I always tell people, just go by how it feels to you. How that message feels to you. Does it feel authentic? Does it feel like it's something your loved one would say? Did they say it in the mannerism that you knew them to have? Or did it feel off? And you are your best decider of whether a medium's reading feels authentic or not. And I'm certain there are people who are like, I hated your reading, Deborah. And then I say, that's okay. I hate you too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really say that. But, there are people that might not like my readings either. So that means that I'm not the one for them. So always use your own self and your own judgment to feel whether a medium or anybody in that matter is right for you. Okay. Ooh. Excuse me. Hold on. I need some water. My eye twitches. I have dry eye. I'm tired, and I do need my glasses on. So that's probably it, Maria. Thank you. I'm not putting them on, though. I'm just not going to do it. Yes. Nancy Simmons. When my daughter was 3, she had memories from my mother's childhood and called them her own. She'd say, when I was little last time. Any thoughts on that? Yes. Carol Bowman wrote a book called Children's Past Lives, and she talks how kids all the time say that. Like, well, remember when I was big, Mommy? No, when I was big. You remember? Remember when I was your mommy? What? And like, they're so convinced, like they remember this stuff. So kids remember because they have not been yet taught to not remember. And we kind of can't unteach it. It just happens. So if you're a parent, like, oh, my child used to say that and they don't anymore, that's normal and that's okay. And usually around 12, 13, 14, that propensity, that spiritual innate ability tends to come back. And then they get to choose as they're like reaching their own identity. They get to choose, do they want to take that path? Just very much like if somebody had an artistic ability and they decide whether they're going to use it or not. Same thing with intuitive abilities and memories of all this. But there's a ton of evidence of children who remember very specific details. I forget the book's name, but there was either a book or a study, maybe it was just a study, where a child, let me just remember it for a minute. Somebody was murdered in another lifetime. That child came back, remembered the murder, and they were able to convict the murderer based on this child's memories of being the person who was murdered, so they were able to identify it. And I wish I had the name of that book or study, but Google it. And pretty fascinating. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. And what if you don't want to reincarnate? I know. I say this all the time. Like, I'm good. I don't need to come back. Like, I got the human trait thing. I got humanity. I understand Earth and all this stuff. I don't want to come back either. I'm like, good. But we will probably have several millennia more of lifetimes just based on the continuum. So what if you don't want to? I'm sure none of us wanted to this time around. And you'll hear people go like, I got a choice. But in the big picture, we don't necessarily have a choice of whether we're going to incarnate or not. And I do think we typically, when we're on the other side, we choose more to reincarnate. And what is that about? When we're on the other side, we are all whole. We are all one big energy field, and we're aware of that. But we can't experience being a part of that energy field unless we're separate from it or have this illusion that we're separate from it. So when we want that experience of what it feels like to be a part of this whole, we then become human, because I am a part of that grand whole. You are a part of the grand whole in a different sliver of that same energy. So basically it's like, say universal energy was water in the ocean, right? Water in the ocean is collectively water in the ocean. All of us are like taking different glasses, cups, shot glasses, red Solo cups, martini glasses, big, huge pools, like swimming pools, little buckets, all these different forms we are then housed. Water bottles. So say that this would be someone's separation, but still filled with the ocean water. So that's basically what we are. We're these separate slivers and manifestations of the exact same energy field. And that's why they say we come in, because we want to experience the feeling of being separate from the whole, which I think is stupid. I think being part of the whole is so much better than being these individualized slivers that have to like buy a shit ton of Christmas gifts and holiday gifts for people because it's like obligatory. But that's just me. But anyway, you know, being human is silly. When you know so much about energy, like all of this seems so stupid. Do you know what I mean? And yet I love it. Like I want my stuff. I want the lights in this room, and I want the computer, and I want the interaction. But that's all my human self. But my higher self is like, oh my God, what does anything matter? It doesn't. It all matters, and it doesn't matter. So it's good times. It's good times being in my brain, you guys. Caitlin, is there a meditation or way for us to get back memories we could have lost, especially from childhood? Yeah, I just spoke about it on another show. And it is called, there's a technique called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, that you can access old memories. There's EMDR. It's another type of therapy that you can access old memories. A lot of times kinesiology, muscle kinesiology, can also help access old memories. Those are the three top that I'm aware of and can think of right now to do. So EMDR, EFT, and what was the third? I just forgot. Oh my God, my head hurts. Whatever I said. Oh, muscle kinesiology, muscle testing. So when I was younger, I had this suspicion of a certain memory of where I was and where my parents were when my brother did die. And I asked both my parents how that all played out. So when he died, we were the only ones there. My older siblings went to school that day. It was the only day they went to school after like waiting for him to pass. My parents were like, okay, you should go to school, and if anything happens, we'll call you. When they were at school, he passed. So I was home with my mom and dad and another person who was significant in our life, a nurse. And my mom remembered it one way, and my father remembered it completely different. And this used to mess me up because I'd be like, I have my hunch, but I was only 3. So like, I don't really trust like how I remember being, this situation at 3. And I did muscle kinesiology to help settle that. And I won't say who was right. But it was one of them. It was one of them, and I remembered it exactly as one of them remembered it. So very helpful. It was very helpful for me to be able to access that. Do I love you. Miss Chris, can a spouse come back as an ant that I can step on? Oh, gosh. Huh. I wish. I hope. I pray. But I think I'll do a lot more than just step. Let's just put it that way. There will be an igniting of some sort of flame, fiery inferno. I don't know. But, who knows? But of course, now that we've said that, now we'll be the ant and we'll be burning. But whatever, I guarantee we'll be doing it together, Chris. So, whatever. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Okay. Please say yes. Kelly said, yeah. So I wish I could totally say yes. I just hope and pray every day, every blessed day that there's karma. Hold on. I just got a little, Debbie just got in the room. So I always tell people there's Deborah, and Deborah's so cool and zen and kind of knows a lot of cool shit and is totally like, don't worry, it's all going to work out. And it really is. And our higher selves and all this. And then Debbie is like, move the fuck over, Deborah. Let's have a chat because I'm being human right now and I'm pissed. So Debbie just kind of started to enter the room. Let's kick her out. Although she's fun too. Debbie's ridiculous. Let's just put it that way. A good ridiculous. Let's see. Oh, you saw the orb in person. So, yeah, that most likely could be energy. It could be cataracts, but it could also be energy as well. For sure. What do you guys, I see you guys speaking amongst yourselves. So I'm kind of blowing right through those. Something was an amazing class. Okay. Can you share, Renee? Can you share what animal souls are like? Do they join us in heaven? Sometimes I think they're more spiritual than we are as humans. They're definitely more spiritual in the sense that they are simply being their purpose. They don't have an agenda. You don't see a dog trying to fly like a bird. You don't see a bird trying to lick its own, you know what. You don't see a tiger wishing it was an ant. You don't see that in nature. There is none of that. But humans were constantly like, gosh, I wish I was, this model, or gosh, I wish I was this artist or a singer or whatever it is. And we're constantly trying to change our nature. And that's the human sense. Because when we say that we are made in the image and likeness of God, it's because God is a creator and God could create all things, God, the universe. And we too are slivers of that same energy field. We're aware that we're creators. Animals don't have the awareness like humans do. So they have pure being. So there's such a purity to animals that they're just being their manifestation of the energy that they were supposed to be. There's no climbing to get to the top. There's no trying to be the best dog in the world. Yes, there's survival of the fittest, but that's an instinct. And that is I need to keep alive. So therefore I need to eat. There's that, but it's not to outdo another. It's only as we start to evolve, which is ironic because you would think that's the highest evolved. But the problem is, as humans, we can totally be that as long as we get rid of all this human stuff. So it's kind of like a oxymoron almost. And they totally join us in heaven, completely. Animal souls are, I spoke about this a little bit last week where I was saying how I don't bring through animals, but they come through a lot, but I don't specifically bring them through. And they're the same as they would be here. They don't come through any more evolved because they are evolved. They're just being. But we totally get reunited with them. Okay. Melanie, you did. I hope you liked it. Okay. I think you pronounce your name Theron. And Theron, just let me know where you're tuning in from and how you heard about it. But There are times when I experience deja vu, like I've been on this particular bridge before, I've been through this particular situation. What exactly is this? Is this my past life? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it can be a past life, except that we can identify that when it's past life, we can identify, like, I've been on this bridge before, that was a past life. But sometimes there's deja vu, and literally that exact same scenario has happened before, like the same conversation, and it's modern. So yes, when it's like, I've been on this bridge before, or, you know, you go to Paris and you're touring the streets and you know if you make a left, there's going to be a stream there, and there is, that totally could be past life. It could also be an accessibility to the what's called the Akashic field, which means all the information ever known in the universe. There is the Akashic field, and we have ability to tap into that, and so therefore you could know that. This is always difficult to explain. This is why I love physics, though. So in quantum physics, all of time is happening right in this moment. So everything that's ever come before this moment and everything that's ever going to become after this moment, which then loops around, creates infinity, it's on and on and on, it never ends, is happening in this moment. So when we experience deja vu, we're kind of experiencing like a glitch in the field where we're experiencing it as if it's happened before, but it's happening right now and you're experiencing it outside of that experience. I know. You're like, what? Got it. I don't want to say it's like black holes and time warps. It's not that. It's a sliver or moment in time when you are acknowledging that this has happened before and you are becoming aware that this has happened before as it's happening, which isn't really that much better of an explanation. But so it could be past life, but it also is really like this tuning into time is existing on all levels all the time in the now. Yeah. Half of you are like, what the? Yeah. And half of you are like, no, I get that. I totally get it. And half of you are like, what? What'd she say? I hope that helped. Tipsy Tina? Who's Tipsy Tina? That's not water. Oh, no, it is unfortunately water. It's Poland Spring. It is. Because if it weren't, I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to pass it off. I'd be like, I'm that person. And I'm like, ew. Except if it's wine. Are we able to get a glimpse of our previous lives? Totally. Past life regression is a very real thing. I just always encourage people to go to a true professional past life regression. I might sound like a snob, but I do not think it's healthy to go to someone who like took a last minute workshop on regressing someone and now they're this, like they hang up their shingle and say they're a past life regressionist. You really do want a professional because it can be potentially pops open a lot. It can trigger a lot. So you want someone who can psychologically handle the ramifications of what you've experienced in another lifetime manifesting in this lifetime. But yes, we could totally. I always recommend Carol Bowman. And if you can't see her, she's in Philadelphia. If you can't see her, you can reach out to her and ask her who she would recommend. Okay. Let Debbie out. Debbie will come out in the Dominican Republic retreat. Trust me. Debbie's fun. She's cool, but she's like freaking annoying too. Ralim is in the house. She's listening. She's driving, and I hope she's not watching. Okay, let's see. Okay, what's this one? Jess. Oh, Jess! Oh my God. You're also another Californite. I was once told that my brother knew he was going to die the day he did. Can this be true that we know when we're going to pass? Totally. I hear that a lot, and ironically, I do. I remember actually your brother, and you've had two brothers who passed, which was even more ridiculous. But I don't know if I remember your one. I don't know which one it was, but I hear typically a lot from people, young people, that they knew they were going to die young. a lot. They don't all say that by any means, but I do hear that often. So yeah, sometimes there's like that gut instinct that someone knows, like they knew. And I hear it a lot. There's something called, I think they're called rainbow children by Doreen Virtue. She describes them as rainbow children, which means they were never meant to stay past their 30th birthday or up until their 30th birthday, that they were always going to pass before then. And sometimes I do think we absolutely have this sense, this knowing. Similarly, a lot of us have absolutely no idea and didn't see it coming at all. So both could be true. And I'm trying to think. I can't remember your second brother who passed name, but I wouldn't be surprised if he knew that he was going to pass. Not that he did it deliberately, but that he had this sense that he wasn't sticking around. But yeah, that is a very common thing I hear. Ooh, thanks, James. Yep. All right. Okay, let's see. Kelly, I keep finding Kelly, you are like, I know you're head of the Creeper Squad and all that, but you're asking really amazing questions. So I'm extremely impressed. So hold on. Let me have my Poland Spring / fake vodka. So why is there all this heaven, hell, reborn again stuff? If there's a collective whole waiting for us, as soon as we pass the whole, sorry I made you feel like crap, and relive every bad thing we have ever done. Don't mean to offend anyone, but we are here because we know. Wait, what? No, I don't understand the question. So why are we doing this? Is that what we pass the whole, sorry I made you feel like crap, and we relive everything ever done. I don't mean to offend anyone, but we're all here because we know Deborah knows all. I don't get that part. But why is that? Why? It is to experience that piece of the whole. So remember before I was saying that, we're coming here to experience being a part of that whole. When we go through that life review, that part where we're like, oh my God, I finally understand why, what you felt when I did such and such, you are also experiencing additional pieces of the whole, which is experiencing pain. So we could either be the victim or we can be the abuser. And a lot of times we can be both in one lifetime. We could be someone who has inflicted pain, consciously or unconsciously. We could have hurt someone and not meant it, but it still means it hurt. Or we could be someone who was hurt, and when we pass, we're experiencing both and we're understanding both. So it's all about it's all about experience, so that we can understand what the whole is made of, which is all of it, which then means none of it. Means it's all one. Is that fun? Does that mess you up? So I hope that helps. That's a good question. My God, the fact that you guys are talking amongst yourselves is killing me. It's hilarious. Like, I want to get in on it, but I don't want to get distracted. So I'm being so not distracted right now. You should all be proud. Yes, vodka and water do look the same, but they do not taste the same. All right, real question here. Karen. This is Karen from Hopewell. I had thoughts that my mother would pass soon and at my sister's house, and that's what happened. Is it possible to have thoughts like that do come true? Totally. That's an instinct. That's a knowing. That's an intuition. It does not mean you made that happen, but it's a knowing. And it's such an incredible feeling to just know it, and then it happens. Even when it's something that's like, oh my gosh, did I know it because I was supposed to prevent it? No. We aren't given information that we are supposed to prevent, and then we don't. So if you see that someone is going to have a heart attack, if you feel this and you're like, yeah, I think they're going to have a heart attack, but I didn't do anything about it, it wasn't because you were supposed to, because if someone's going to pass, they're going to pass. So they don't typically give us premonitions so that we can prevent it. Although there are many times when the premonition does help us prevent something. So that means it was supposed to be prevented. So yeah, that's possible. That's also could be, again, like I was talking about before, being plugged into that Akashic field and just understanding the information, grabbing and hearing, feeling, seeing this information. Okay. Oh, okay, Kelly. So no, I mean, why are we taught about heaven and hell if we all go to the same place? Sorry, I wrote it stupid. You didn't really write it stupid. So in this realm, we are a realm of opposites, light and dark, black and white. It's the yin to the yang. It's opposites. Here, there exists everything in the opposite form. On the other, in the whole, it's all one. So it's all one and the same, which is actually, it's the physics calls it 0 point. It's this place or space that is full of potential, which means every single possibility, every combination, anything you can imagine and more is possible. And yet there's a void. There's nothing there yet. So it's kind of like a seed. Everything is available in that seed, ever to be known is available in the seed, but the seed is nothing right now. So that's the collective whole. When we come here, we experience what's called polarity, the opposites. Something is very either good or it's bad. This isn't a good way of thinking, but it's how we are wired here. I do see a shift in consciousness and evolution in the planet, a good shift in consciousness. I know the media always talks about like how, everything's going to hell and all that, but I don't see that at all. I mean, yeah, there's some shit things that are happening, but I do shit things. You know what I mean? Like we're all part of that. So if we can stop looking at things as good and bad, heaven and hell, then we release the dichotomy, and we're more reconnected to that whole. So it's really a function of being human that we have to experience the opposites in order to get to realize that they're one and the same. Does that help? People are like, no, nope, not at all. Patty, you say that in the process of crossing over, the good deeds we did in our life will be felt from the viewpoint of the person who is the recipient of our kindness. That's so cool. Yes, it is cool. So it's not like we do these things so that later we're like, oh, I'm so glad when I cross over, I'm going to feel really good because I help that person. But it's nice to know that your good deeds and our negative deeds, but they have ripple effects. They go on and on and on. So at what point are we along that ripple or that wave? Are you going to be say someone's having a really good day, right? And they're on this really happy wave. And then you surprise them and buy them coffee. And now they're like, oh my gosh, they're still on a happy wave. And then they move on to their day. And then someone smashes into them on purpose, like car accident, like on purpose. Who does that? I don't know. Just follow me. So now that happy wave is like, do you want to be that person that intercepts a happy ripple or a happy wave? No, we don't want to. Sometimes we do, sometimes we're going to, but with consciousness and awareness, we can keep that wave going on a happy level. We can smile at someone. We can hold the door. We can realize, and I'm amazed, I consider myself pretty aware, and I'm astounded at how many times I'm such an unaware asshole. For example, shopping in the store, right? I'm in the grocery store. And when you want to get to that one thing on the shelf, but there's that person that's standing there in your way. And you kind of do that whole yeah, no, I'll be patient. It's totally fine. And then you're like, all right, now I'm starting to get pissed because I'm here and I just need to grab that thing real quick. And you're staring and you clearly don't know what you want, but you're also not aware that I'm here. And then your human self is like, all right, motherfucker, get out of the way, please. I just need to get soup, right? So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So how many times have I noticed that I'm that person? So yeah, I can get annoyed. How come they don't see me there? How come they're not moving out? How come they're not doing that? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were here. How come they're not doing that? Who knows? Instantly you're annoyed. Not instantly, but you try to be good. And then you get annoyed. And then that wave and that ripple is intercepted. But I'm often so amazed at how many times I'm that person that's staring and looking, and I didn't realize someone's right behind me. When that's the case, then I do say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You must wanted to have punched me, or, I'll say that. And then that normally keeps the wave okay, because I have admitted that I was being so ignorant to someone else's needs. So pay attention to that. Pay attention when you also are the jerk, and realize, oh my gosh, I was so unaware in that moment. And you snap out of it, admit it, and move on. You keep everybody's waves in a happy space and in a positive ripple. Okay. Oh, fair and cool, you're from Beacon. That's good. Oh, Maria. Maria, did I meet you? Yes, I met you. You came to, I think, my book signing in Pleasant Valley, if I remember correctly. My partner died, and I was afraid I'd crumble to pieces. Your insights are keeping me above water. That's amazing. That's so good. Because at the end of the day, you know, when we're out living in the world, we're like out doing our thing, and we all have this like perception to hold up, and we all have to be like normal, you know what I mean, in quotes, normal. We gotta like still pay the bills. We gotta like, it's go mode, right? But really on the inside, we all have a struggle of some sort, and it doesn't mean a negative struggle, but there's stuff within us. I happen to be on the fortunate end of being trusted by so many of you who come to me. So I see the human struggle on a daily basis, which helps my own, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is called being human. Unfortunately, and if you're in corporate or if you're in a job where you can't really like fall apart at a moment's notice, it's hard. You feel more disconnected. So whatever we can do, I can do to keep us feeling connected as humanity and realize like, all right, we're all idiots sometimes, and we're all phenomenally amazing at some times. And both are good. And it feels better to be amazing. So let's try to move towards that as much as possible, knowing that's not always going to happen, especially if you're like a parent. Yeah, like I guarantee I'm going to go upstairs and the dishes aren't going to be done. And I'm not going to be like, it's okay, we're all human and sometimes we don't do what we're supposed to. No, I'm not going to do that. But we're connected, and we're all kind of keeping our head above water in one way or another. When I grew up, I didn't have any money. Like I grew up with my mom, and we had like no money, and there was always a stress about money. And I knew like sometimes the lights wouldn't be on, and we'd have like elbow pasta, which is why to this day I hate elbow pasta. Like it's just bleh. I also hate ketchup because my mom would put ketchup in the elbow pasta. She'll say she didn't, but she did. And to this day, I cannot eat ketchup and elbow pasta. And I remember, you know, feeling this like, oh my gosh, this whole thing about, I totally lost my train of thought because I really tasted the ketchup. Sorry. Oh my God, I got flashback to that freaking elbow pasta and ketchup, which is so gag worthy. I digress. What was I saying before that? I don't even know. I'm starting to get sleepy now. Maybe it is the vodka. I don't know. But humanity, and that we're struggling, and that you don't normally like express that you're struggling, but we're all stressed. And I remember growing up as a kid thinking, wow, I bet people with money, I bet you they don't struggle. I bet you they don't have these problems. And oh my gosh, that's so wrong. Having money helps things along. If you have money, you have more access and you have ability to get more help. Absolutely, it helps. But people with money, people without money, people who are gorgeous, people who don't feel gorgeous, we're all struggling. We're all in the same boat of humanity. And I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by people. I'm fascinated by what people overcome and how pretty cool we are and chill. You know, I think that we should connect more on the fact that knowing what you have inside of you on any given day, whether it's extreme depression or extreme sadness or extreme joy, extreme optimism, whatever it is you're feeling, and everything in between what I just said, we're doing pretty good. 7 billion of us have all these emotions, have all these core beliefs, have all these thoughts, have all these desires and dreams, and some of them are coming to fruition and a lot are not. And we're not like blowing each other up. Do you know what I mean? Like that 7 billion of us are like having all this crazy data flying around. I think we're pretty good. And at the heart of everybody, people really want to help. For the most part, people want to help. They want to feel helpful. They want to be helpful. They want to make a difference in someone's lives. And then there's those times, yeah, they'll find someone who really doesn't care about it, but they are far and few between. So remember that as you walk forward in your next week, the next 7 days. Collectively, we're supposed to breathe as we started this night out. But remember that we're all on this planet. We're in it together. Some days you're up. Some days you're not. You're part of this collective continuum. You're doing great. You can always upgrade. You can always do better as far as the way you treat yourself and your awareness. And there's a lot of like a way out of feeling blah all the time. And that's to connect to people, connect to each other, connect to the other side, connect to a higher energy, connect. And I say that, and I'm not like social. I have a couple friends who are on here. I don't go out. I hate being social. Like, I hate it. So when I say connect, I don't mean like, hey, let's go out for a beer, because that's not the way I connect. I don't like that. But when I connect, I connect. So find out what you connect best at and with who, and then be with them as much as possible. I'm going to, oh God, why is Greg in the doghouse, Sharon? I don't know. I didn't catch all that. I can't wait till later when I read everything as we go through it. Yes, ketchup and elbow pasta. Vomit. Meditation at the center, for those of you who do live close by, my center in Newburgh is in 2 Sundays. So not this Sunday, but the following. You just show up. It starts at 7, so come a little bit early. It's $10. You don't have to make a reservation. You can bring a friend. You can come alone. It's fantastic. It's an amazing room, amazing dynamic of people who I love, what are called the tribe. It is the most real humans you'll ever meet. We laugh, we cry, we express, we are totally our authentic selves. So that's just, it's my favorite. It's my favorite thing of what I do is my meditation group. So come to that. I also do online meditation, and for the year of 2019, I'll do one once a month, and each one I'm going to have a specific goal. And I believe in January, I'm going to start off with meeting our guides, because a lot of you were asking about that. So that there'll be more information on that in January. The personalized intuitive books. So I will sign my book in the presence of proof, and I will also include a personalized intuitive message in it. It will be very, very rare that I'm actually channeling the other side for those. But I can't say that it won't happen, but it's not mediumship messages. It is intuitive messages. Listen to this song. This is what's going to happen for you. I don't know. It's intuitive of nature. So those are out. There's only 25 released at a time. So you could check those out. I have a vision board workshop. I've already had 1 million signups come up, so I don't know how many left on that at the end of the month on Sunday, December 30th. The vision board workshop is super powerful. So that's coming up, and it's a smaller class for that. I have a gallery at my center. This is where I bring messages from the other side at my center, December 29th. So that's a Saturday. There's tickets, and the links are all on my website, deborahhanlon.com. And December 23rd, I have that Christmas Eve holiday service, connect to the light, reconnect to your core, very calming and centering service. And Elvis Duran, if you go to elvistvcasting.com, let me put that up here. One moment, please. elvistvcasting.com, and fill out a form that I think is a little hard to fill out, to be honest. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But you talk about how cool I am, because you could always do that. And submit it. I've always said that I wanted to be on the Elvis Duran show, and I really still want to be. So if you can fill out that application and nominate me as somebody that should be on their show, that would be fantastic. They ask for my age. I don't know why, but it is 42. Don't get it wrong. We've been through this before. Some of you are saying, I think it's 48. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I'm not yet. So stop. What else? I should raffle off one of my scarves. Oh my God, that is hilarious. I could probably raffle off a scarf for like every day of 2019 because I have OCD and I have them. So that's interesting. Raffle off a scarf. Will one of you want my scarves? Really? That's funny. And it has my perfume on it and everything. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, just kidding. It smells good. Yes, I'll be at the Wood Restaurant in Highland on Wednesday. Oh, Maria, you're going to be there. Perfect. Remind me, because I'm in a different mode when I'm there, so come up to me and let me know, like, oh my God, I'm Maria. So the Wood, and tomorrow at Arturo's Tavern in Mayapack, New York. I think they still have seats left for that one, so there's a gallery tomorrow. Are you still signing books at galleries and signing them? Yep, I sure am. They're always available wherever I am. The gallery's the center. And let's see, what else? No, I'm not bringing Elvis back alive. Nope. Oh, can I come to LA? Renee. I used to go to LA 5 times a year, and I love it so much out there. I don't have any plans to move out there right now. I can't. I have to wait for my kids to finish school here. Or the ex to become an aunt, A-N-T, but whatever. And then I will hope to be on the West Coast because I just love your weather. So I should plan something. I didn't say I will plan, but I really should plan something on the East Coast. LA, San Diego area for sure. And I like when you ask because that means like I've got to come back. Oh yeah, Teresa. Oh, and online classes. Okay. So online classes, I am struggling because I'm always like, I can't do it. I can't do it online. I like the feedback of people. But online classes will be something that's coming up as well because somehow we'll do it. So it's out there. It's out in the ether. Yeah, everything is on DeborahHanlon.com. Go do Elvis. Whoops, here it is. ElvisTVcasting.com. Fill out your thing. It takes you about 5 minutes to do. Just say what you want. You don't have to, I'm not going to script you, but you could say like, I'm freaking awesome and I'm helping the world, or I don't know, just something. I say F word a lot. Whatever you want. So I think that's it, you guys. I'm going to now go do some yoga and hopefully breathe and bring our energy down. Remember, when you are out there feeling completely off, remember you're not the only one. And that's what I'm going to leave all of you with tonight. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next Monday. Night.